I know my most bizarre was when I was working at News Corp with Cole Walsh. Remember him?
Vaguely.
Yes, driver. He was the driver. He used to listen to the police radios and quite often would beat the police to the scene. On this occasion, there was a Long Bay jail escapee, and he cornered this escapee and made a citizen's arrest with his own handcuffs. And I got back to the office a little bit in shock.
What was he doing with handcuffs?
With jars. And the news editor said, "Get out of the chair, Jane," after I'd written the story. And the headline was, "Daily Mirror driver catches crim," and there it is, just there.
There's been a few, but my earliest mistake, and if we're talking about health, it wasn't great for my health. When I learned of what had happened, it was not only embarrassing, but sort of psychologically it was a huge blow. So at night, if it was quiet or there's nothing much doing on the police rounds, they had a whole set list of stories that we had to ring around on. And there were stories that it was basically to harass people who had always said, "No, we don't want to talk to you." This particular evening, I forget her name, but she was the first ever, she won the first ever case of passive smoking. She worked for one of the airlines back then, TAA or ANSET, and she had no one had ever been able to follow up with her, but we knew her phone number, so everyone had their turn at harassing her in the evening. And this particular evening I called her and I asked for her by name, and the woman said, "No, I'm her auntie, but we have some very bad news, and this particular person had passed away." So I immediately started asking questions, how it had happened, had it been related to her passive smoking, what had the doctor said, and all the rest of it. She said, "I'm sorry, we can't talk now." So obviously this was a big story, so I needed to confirm it. So I diligently called every single police station, hospital, probably ambulance and maybe fire station on the Gold Coast. And I called everyone, and everyone was very helpful, and there was no confirmation of that death whatsoever, nothing. So I didn't want to give up there because it sounded like a good story. It didn't dawn on me at the time what was going on, didn't even suspect it, but I did. My chief of staff that evening said, "I'll call her and we'll call that a confirmation if she tells me the same story," and sure enough that happened. I wrote the story, and they were going to put it on the front page. Thankfully, the US bombed Libya, and that made the front page instead. So I made page 3 for the very early edition. So it turned out that obviously I've been talking to her the whole time. And she had fabricated this whole yarn because she just wanted to get us off her back. And that was the end of it. But it was extremely embarrassing. And I remember going to the pub that evening, and I just felt different. I felt like I no longer commanded my realm. I no longer had control.
No longer Scoop Mulligan.
I was at the Melbourne Cup in the days before smartphones in the birdcage, and it was an election campaign going on, and I was asked to interview George Brandis. I had no idea who George Brandis was from a bar of soap or what he looked like, Liberal cabinet minister. At the time, I had not covered politics in my career, and I was in this very busy birdcage tent, everybody boozing on, and asking people, where's George Brandis? Please point out to me George Brandis. And someone said, "No, he's just over there. He's over there. Oh, is that him? Is that him?" Anyway, I proceeded to speak to George Brandis for about 15 minutes with a tape recorder in front of me, and he's giving, really excellent quotes and all the rest of it. And it just turned out, I somehow finally twigged that it didn't feel quite right here, but it wasn't George Brandis at all.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's what journalism's about, isn't it? It's about sometimes being in the right place at the wrong place at the wrong time at the right time. It's about expecting the unexpected. There's a lot of drama.
Basically, news journalism is all about getting as close to the truth as you possibly can, and each time. And the closer you can get is by just talking to as many people as possible. And that includes official sources, eyewitnesses, alternative sources, people who aren't happy with what's going on. And somewhere in there, you will find the best truth you possibly can. But don't give up. Be relentless.
And I guess the other one is don't interview dead people.
Don't interview dead people.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Jane.